What if everything you've been told about attracting younger women is a lie? We've all heard the exhausted cliches that you need a supercar in the driveway, a sprawling mansion, or the physique of a 20-year-old athlete just to get a second look. But here is the cold, hard truth that most men miss. If you try to compete with younger guys on their turf by chasing trends, acting hip, or focusing solely on the superficial, you've already lost. Younger women aren't looking for a slightly older version of the boys they grew up with. They are looking for the man those boys haven't become yet. The real secret to ageless attraction doesn't live in your wallet or your gym bag. It lives in a primal, psychological space that is hardwired into the female psyche, a space that values depth, authority, and emotional stability over flashy, temporary distractions. Think about the sheer noise of modern dating. Younger women are constantly bombarded by immature energy, men who play games because they lack confidence, and peers who are still trying to find themselves. When you step into the room, you aren't just another option. You are a different category of human being. This isn't about material wealth or physical perfection, though those things are nice to have. This is about a potent, magnetic pull that comes from a man who is grounded in his own skin. It's a biological trigger that responds to the alpha traits of experience and wisdom. Traits that a younger man simply cannot fake no matter how much he spends or how hard he trains. You have lived through things they haven't even dreamed of, and that history carries a weight and a scent of capability that women find biologically irresistible. Today we are stripping away the myths and the fluff that have kept most men in the dark for decades. We are moving past the surface-level advice and diving straight into the mechanics of human desire. You are about to become the exception to the rule. Most men spend their entire lives wondering why they can't bridge the age gap, never realizing that the bridge is built on 7 specific psychological archetypes. These aren't just personality types, they are ancient blueprints of masculine power. When you understand how these archetypes work, you stop chasing and start attracting. You move from a position of trying to prove your worth to a position where your worth is self-evident. Once you truly grasp the mechanics of this attraction, you unlock a strategic advantage that younger guys simply cannot touch. A 25-year-old might have the energy, but you have the gravity. He might have the speed, but you have the direction. By leaning into your age rather than hiding from it, you tap into a source of power that makes you magnetic. This is about understanding the why behind the what. Why a woman would choose a man who has lived over a boy who is just starting. Prepare to shift your entire perspective. We are moving beyond the how-to and into the how it is, revealing the deep-seated reasons why your maturity is actually your greatest asset in the game of attraction. Stand tall, because once you see these 7 archetypes, you will never look at yourself or dating the same way again. 1. The mentor figure. In a world that feels increasingly chaotic, fast-paced, and filled with shallow interactions, the mentor figure stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. For many younger women, navigating their 20s and 30s feels like walking through a thick fog of social pressure, career uncertainty, and emotional noise. They're surrounded by peers who are just as lost as they are, men who are still struggling to find their footing, and who often add to the confusion rather than resolving it. When you enter the picture as a mentor figure, you aren't just another dating option. You are a source of profound relief. This isn't about being a literal teacher or a lecturer. It's about a specific way of carrying yourself that radiates clarity and purpose. When she looks at you, she doesn't just see older. She sees a man who has been shaped by life's pressures into something refined, calm, and unshakable. You have already survived the storm she is currently facing, and that experience gives you a gravity that younger men simply haven't earned yet. The magic of the mentor figure lies in your ability to command a room without ever having to raise your voice. Your certainty does the work for you. While younger guys are often loud, defensive, or constantly trying to prove how alpha they are, you are comfortable in your silence. This composure is incredibly magnetic. It signals to her that you are a safe harbor, a man who can handle her questions, her ambitions, and even her insecurities without being threatened by them. She finds herself opening up to you, asking about life, career, and personal identity in ways she would never dream of doing with a peer. Why? Because she knows you offer guidance rather than judgment. You've seen it all before, which means nothing she says will shock you or make you run for the hills. You provide the emotional structure and the steady direction she is starving for in a world that feels like it's spinning out of control. Ultimately, the reason the mentor figure is so irresistible is that you become a catalyst for her own evolution. When she is around you, she feels herself growing. She notices that her thoughts become clearer, her confidence builds, and her perspective expands just by being in your orbit. You aren't just a partner, you are the man who helps her unlock a better version of herself. This creates a powerful psychological bond, because growth is one of the most addictive human experiences. Once a woman associates her own personal expansion and leveling up with your presence, you become a permanent fixture in her mind. You aren't just a memory, you are the source of her progress, and that makes you completely unforgettable. 2. The self-made man. While a younger man is forced to rely on potential, constantly making promises about what he will do, what he will earn, and who he will become, the self-made man walks into the room with the receipts. You aren't selling a dream, you are living a reality. This archetype is deeply attractive because it represents proven capability. Younger women are naturally drawn to the self-made man because his life is a testament to resilience, discipline, and grit. Your value isn't just tied to the numbers in your bank account or the title on your business card. It's woven into the very way you move through the world. You carry the scars of past failures and the quiet pride of hard-won victories. To a woman, this signals that you are a man who can handle life's challenges. You aren't going to fold when things get tough because you've already been in the trenches and fought your way out. Psychologically, the self-made man offers something that is becoming increasingly rare: absolute certainty and emotional stability. A younger woman often spends her time worrying about the what-ifs of the future. Will her partner be successful? Will he stay focused? Will he provide a stable life? When she is with you, those questions disappear. You've already paved the road. You've built the foundation. She doesn't have to guess where your life is going because you are already there. This creates a sense of profound security that acts like an aphrodisiac. It allows her to relax into her feminine energy because she trusts your masculine lead. Your confidence doesn't need to be flashy or loud because it's backed by decades of actual results. You don't need to brag about your achievements. They are written in your posture, your lifestyle, and your mindset. The energy you project as a self-made man is magnetic because it promises a future that is both safe and exciting. You offer the thrill of a high-level life without the amateur mistakes that come with youth. You've already learned how to manage your emotions, how to handle your business, and how to lead a relationship. You provide a world of possibility where she can feel protected and inspired at the same time. While younger guys are still playing games and trying to figure out who they are, you have already defined yourself. That level of self-assurance is a powerful drug. It draws her in because it represents a life that is directed, intentional, and victorious. In her eyes, you aren't just a man who has succeeded. You are a man who is success, and that is a quality that never goes out of style. 3. The enigma. Forget the fairy tales that claim women want a predictable Prince Charming who lays all his cards on the table the moment they meet. In reality, deep-seated psychology proves that attraction is fueled by curiosity, and nothing kills curiosity faster than a man who talks too much about himself. This is where the enigma holds a massive advantage. As an older man, you have lived a full life, but you don't feel the need to prove it. You are the man who doesn't reveal his entire life story on the first date. You don't dump your past, your traumas, or your triumphs into her lap within the first hour. Instead, you have layers, deep, complex layers that must be peeled back carefully over time. This air of mystery isn't about being deceptive. It's about being composed and intentionally guarded. When you are comfortable in your own silence and you don't feel the urge to fill every gap in the conversation with your own voice, you trigger a woman's natural, primal desire for exploration. The human brain is biologically hardwired to solve puzzles and close open loops. When you remain the unknown, you become the most interesting puzzle she has ever encountered. Because you aren't an open book, she has to use her imagination to fill in the blanks, and her imagination will often paint you in an even more legendary light than reality. By letting your story unfold slowly, revealing just a glimpse of your history here and a spark of your personality there, you create a powerful psychological pull. You are creating emotional tension, which is the heartbeat of attraction. While younger men are desperately seeking validation by telling her everything they think she wants to hear, You are standing back, letting her wonder what is going on behind your eyes. This mystery makes you addictive. She finds herself thinking about you long after the date is over, trying to decode your motivations and predict your next move. By being the enigma, you aren't chasing her. You are drawing her into your world, making her the one who keeps coming back for just one more chapter of a story she can't put down. 4. The creative visionary evolutionary psychology tells us that intelligence is one of the highest and most consistent predictors of long-term attraction, and the creative visionary is the man who wears his intellect like a suit of armor. But make no mistake, this isn't just about being book smart or having a high IQ. This is about your ability to solve problems, innovate, and see the world through a lens that everyone else seems to miss. Most people move through life following the herd, but the creative visionary thinks in 3 dimensions. While others see a dead end, you see a blueprint. While others see a crisis, you see a hidden opportunity or a loophole in the system. This level of unconventional thinking is absolutely intoxicating to a younger woman. It signals that you are a man of high survival value, someone who can navigate the complexities of the modern world with ease and creativity. When you demonstrate the ability to think outside the box, you aren't just showing off your brain. You are promising her a life that will never be boring. You bring a spark of excitement to the mundane aspects of daily existence. Whether you are discussing a business strategy, an artistic passion, or a unique philosophy on life, your perspective provides a glow that younger men simply haven't developed yet. You inspire her without even trying. She looks at you and realizes that her world gets bigger just by listening to you talk. You become a catalyst for a more interesting life, showing her that there are different ways to live, think, and succeed. This isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. You aren't just a partner who fits into her life, you're the man who expands the boundaries of what her life can be. In a world full of people who follow the rules, the man who creates his own is the one who captures the heart. 5. The adventurous spirit to a younger woman. A man with an adventurous spirit is far more than just someone to go on vacation with. He is the ultimate guide to the world. Younger guys often travel with a sense of chaotic uncertainty. They're the ones getting lost in bad neighborhoods, missing flight connections, or settling for overpriced tourist traps because they don't know any better. But you're different. You don't just travel, you navigate. Because of your years of experience and the miles you've put behind you, you bring a level of sophistication and competence to every journey. You know exactly where the hidden gems are located, that tucked-away bistro in Paris, or the secluded beach in Bali that doesn't show up on a basic Google search. You understand the finest cuisines, the vintage wines, and the safest, most efficient routes to get there. When she is with you, the stress of the unknown evaporates, allowing her to fully immerse herself in the beauty of the moment. You transform what would have been a simple trip into a masterfully curated memory. Beyond the logistics, your role as an adventurer is deeply rooted in your ability to be both a protector and a world-class storyteller. Every destination you visit with her is enriched by the context you provide. You aren't just looking at a monument, you're explaining the history, the culture, and the personal anecdotes from the last time you were there. This depth of knowledge is incredibly alluring because it makes her feel like she is experiencing the world through a VIP lens. More importantly, she feels a profound sense of safety under your wing. She knows that no matter what happens, whether it's a language barrier or a sudden change in plans, you have the calm authority to handle it. This creates a powerful emotional bond through shared adventure that is almost impossible to break. You are offering her a movie-like escape from the mundane, providing a level of worldliness and security that younger, less experienced men simply struggle to replicate. 6. The reliable partner. In today's modern dating market, a landscape cluttered with ghosting, breadcrumbing, and endless broken promises, reliability has become the ultimate luxury. We live in an era where many younger men treat commitment like a suggestion rather than a contract. They cancel plans at the last minute, disappear for days without explanation, and crumble the moment life gets complicated. In this sea of inconsistency, a man who actually follows through on his word is a revelation. Being a reliable partner isn't about being boring or predictable in a negative way. It's about being a pillar of strength. It means when you say you'll be there at 8 o'clock, you're there at 8 o'clock. It means when she is facing a crisis at work or an emotional storm, you're the steady hand she can lean on. This steadfast support makes you stand out instantly because it proves you have the character and the discipline that younger men, who are often still battling their own insecurities, simply haven't developed yet. When you offer consistent action over time, you build a foundation of trust that acts as a powerful aphrodisiac. Psychologically, women are hardwired to seek stability, especially when they are looking toward the future. They want to know that the man by their side is dependable when life gets messy, and life always gets messy eventually. Your consistency builds a deep, authentic intimacy because she feels safe enough to lower her guard. She doesn't have to play detective with your text messages or wonder if you're going to change your mind tomorrow. For a woman who is tired of the games and the emotional roller coasters provided by her peers, your dependability makes you a high-value, premium choice. You are the rare, sure thing in a world of variables. By being the man who stays true to his word and his mission, you create a sense of peace and security that makes her want to stay by your side for the long haul. The gentleman is the final and perhaps most crucial archetype of all, because he represents something that is becoming increasingly extinct in the modern world: peak emotional maturity. This isn't about the cinematic, over-the-top gestures you see in old movies like laying a coat over a puddle, or buying $1,000 bouquets just to prove a point. Those are often just performances. Being a true gentleman is about the quiet, consistent respect and the subtle consideration you weave into the fabric of everyday life. It's the way you hold the door, not just because it's a rule, but because you naturally look out for her comfort. It's the way you listen, truly listen, without interrupting or checking your phone. While younger men are often reactive, impulsive, and prone to emotional outbursts, you are the man who has mastered himself. You have reached a stage in life where you don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be the most powerful. The true magnetism of the gentleman lies in how you handle the messy parts of a relationship. When a younger man faces a disagreement or a moment of high tension, his ego often takes the wheel. He might explode in anger, shut down completely, or resort to petty mind games to win the argument. But you operate on a different frequency. You handle conflict without the unnecessary drama. You have the rare ability to discuss difficult topics with a calm, steady voice that instantly de-escalates the situation. You don't see her as an opponent to be defeated, but as a partner to be understood. You preserve the value of the relationship and her dignity at all costs, even when things are heated. This level of emotional self-control creates an aura of safety that is practically hypnotic. When she is with you, she feels a sense of peace that she rarely finds elsewhere. She doesn't have to walk on eggshells or wonder which version of you she's going to get today. Furthermore, a gentleman understands that he never needs to compete for attention or play manipulative games to keep a woman interested. You don't nag her, you don't try to make her jealous, and you don't withhold affection to gain leverage. Those are the tactics of boys who are terrified of losing control. Instead, you simply provide a foundation of respect and emotional stability. You admire her achievements, you support her growth, and you treat her with a level of kindness that is genuine and unforced. Because you are secure in your own masculinity, you can afford to be gentle. This combination of strength and softness is incredibly rare and, therefore, incredibly valuable. In a dating world full of noise, ego, and instability, the gentleman is the ultimate prize. He is the man who makes a woman feel protected, respected, and most importantly, truly seen. Once she experiences the emotional peace that comes with being with a real gentleman, every other man she's ever known will pale in comparison. The single biggest mistake most men make as they get older is viewing their age as a liability they need to hide rather than the superpower it actually is. They buy the clothes 20-somethings wear, they use the slang they hear on social media, and they try desperately to project an energy that simply isn't theirs anymore. But here is the secret that will change everything for you. Younger women aren't attracted to you despite your age. They're attracted to you specifically because of it. When you try to act younger, you're essentially telling the world that you aren't comfortable in your own skin, and nothing kills attraction faster than a lack of authenticity. By trying to compete with younger guys on their level, you are throwing away your greatest tactical advantage. You are trading your hard-earned wisdom for a cheap imitation of youth, and women can smell that insecurity from a mile away. Your age is not a number to be ashamed of. It is your power. It is the physical and psychological manifestation of every challenge you've overcome, every risk you've taken, and every victory you've secured. Your wisdom is your weapon, and your life experience is your magnetism. Think about it. A younger man is like a rough sketch, full of potential but lacking detail. You, on the other hand, are the finished masterpiece. You carry a weight and a presence that can only be forged in the fires of time. When you walk into a room, you aren't just bringing your physical self. You are bringing decades of stories, insights, and a grounded perspective that makes you a force of nature. This is why you don't need to learn tricks or tactics. These 7 archetypes we've discussed aren't games you play. They're the natural hallmarks of a man who has lived, learned, and matured. Most men fail in the dating world because they are constantly pretending to be someone they aren't, hoping that a facade will make them more appealing. But the reality is far simpler and much more liberating. All you have to do is step into the man that life has already crafted you into. You have already done the hard work of growing up. You have already learned how the world works. You have already developed the emotional intelligence and the stability that younger women are starving for in a sea of immature options. When you embrace your maturity, you stop being a competitor to younger men and start being their superior. You are offering something they physically cannot provide, a sense of been there, done that, confidence that acts as a powerful anchor for a woman's soul. It is time to stand tall in your experience and own your history. Stop apologizing for your years and start leveraging them. Younger women aren't looking for a man who is perfect. They are looking for a man who is present. They want a man who knows who he is, who doesn't shake when the wind blows, and who possesses the quiet authority that only comes from a life well lived. Your silver hair, your fine lines, and your deep voice are the marks of a man who has survived and thrived. When you move with the certainty of someone who has nothing left to prove, you become an irresistible magnet.